Hello, friends. How are you today? I am so excited to share a look at this big wave of energy that poured forth on the Schumann chart this morning and show you what I found. It's so cool. And I also did an astrology chart for the wave. So we can also look at those energies. I'll do that in the second half of the video. But first, let me make a couple of announcements. This week we had the last class for my Human Energy Systems 2 class, the more advanced class. And I am going to be offering Human Energy Systems 1, again, the beginning class. And we're going to start that the week after July 4th, the week with July 4th. So it'll be July 12th. The class is Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And so if you are interested, it would be wonderful if you message me. If you have already messaged me about the class, but I didn't get back to you, I will be sending out a notice to all of you who did that. So I'm really excited about this. The last 2 workshops have been fantastic, and people have really I don't know, it's just been great. You know, people have really gotten into the tools we've talked about, the practices, and had, really interesting breakthroughs and personal experiences. So I've just been delighted with the whole thing. So I'm also going to start a study hall, and I will tell you more about that upcoming. So as always, I do readings, and I do energy readings and astrology readings. So you may contact me for that as well. I had not done as many recently, but I am back to being available to do that. Okay, let me show you right on this wave. Let me show you something right here. It was so interesting because I was calculating the time that the wave started so that I could really kind of nail it down. And I had seen an image in the wave, and you might be able to sense that here. I'd seen an image of like a face, a little person. And when I was looking through the whole length of the wave to determine exactly where it started, it was so incredible because what I determined was that it literally started right here in the head of the figure that was, when you mirror the wave, that shows up very clearly. I'm going to tell you more about this figure in a second, but it's like it came out of the mind of this being. And so let's take a closer look at what this could be. So right now what we're doing is we're looking at this amazing wave here that showed up on the chart. What I did was I mirrored the wave, and I also looked at it mirroring it the other direction. I didn't get anything doing that, but if you see something, I'd love to see it. You can always at me on Twitter or Truth Social. So look at this, okay? So here, this reminded me so much of the angel wing waves that we have seen in the past in other years. And it's so exciting to see this right after the solstice, really. I mean, it's very, and the wind is picking up outside, like while I'm talking here and telling about how inspiring this was. That nature, like it's like a revelation by nature, right? It's the solstice. It's a natural moment where the day is the longest, right, of any day. And I think that, we have the timing of things that we have written down. And so according to my chart, my chart that I checked, the solstice was at 2:13 a.m. yesterday, and this wave showed up today. But in divine timing, I think the natural timing, right, was perfect. This is the solstice wave here. And so when you look more closely at it, look at this. What is in between this? Isn't it incredible? There's a little being, there's a little person there. And it was so amazing. It was not what I expected at all. So I've spent hours looking through information and studying and thinking about this, and it's incredible. I thought that there would be a bigger being, I thought that it would be like a big angel or something that I would see. Instead, I see this child, really. And then do you see the face here and here? It's so clear. You see the eyebrow here, the eye, the nose, and the mouth, okay? And these faces come from the left and the right. So the face, like the body that goes with this face, is the white wave, right? Like this higher dimensional state, this celestial, right? Almost, it looks celestial today, right? It looks like an angel wing just pouring out onto the chart. And it's like this child is kissed by an angel. The valuing of this child, right? The valuing of the child by heaven, by the angels, the Most High, by divinity itself. It's like the wave is honoring this child. And then as I looked at the child, I saw a halo over his head. And even up here, you can almost see like looks like a cross, okay, with little upturned wings on it there, but it looks like a cross, and with those, the upturned to the left and the right on either side of the cross, it's like the energy is descending, right? It's like it's descending to manifest as this child. And then it was so interesting because I was looking at this here, and I kept hearing, as I was looking at this, perceiving the energy, it kept coming to me, lambda, alpha, omega. And then I went on a whole research dive into what that could mean. And I'm not going to talk about that today because I want to stay focused on the main image here. Let's just look through, and I'm not going to make commentary, but you can see that there were additional, okay, fine, I will. Doesn't this look like when you put your hands together in the heart shape? That's what that looked like to me here. A heart made out of hands. And it's even red in the center. Let me get out a little bit bigger for a sec here. Yeah. So see what you can see. I'll just slowly move down. I think that this is, hold on. Someone on Twitter had pinged me, and it was not this image, because this image just appeared, but it was recently, and the person who pinged me called it Athena. Yeah, it was at Heart Sigma. At heart_sigma Quinzarel. Thanks for pinging me on that. I always find that fun, for people to send me images. But yeah, there's another figure here. It does look female to me. Interesting. Reminds me of the figure that person sent me. And then here, there's another one here, almost with a crown. But that one does not look human. That one does not look human. We're going to talk about this influence more. It looks more like it looks like it's green, a green face, a green being. When I talk about the astrology, that kind of stuff comes up a lot in the astrology. Look at this. Wow. I just want to let you guys see this. Oh man, the blue down here is so beautiful. Okay. All right. There we are down at the end. Okay. Okay, now let's look at the black charts really quick, and then we can go into the astrology. Okay, so here's the frequencies. I brightened all the colors on this chart because it was too hard to read without that. And I've highlighted where the wave was. And we have that typical effect of the frequencies dipping down to the low ends of the ranges that we get when there's a wave of I believe, an expanded energy. And the big dips, there's a really big drop off here. Look at this in green, okay? And there is as well in red, but let me just see from here to here in red. Yeah, that's numbers wise, actually it is about the same hertz. It's just not as dramatic looking because of the steepness of this curve, of this not curve, of this descent. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. And because this occurred over a longer period. Yeah, and it's interesting because there's a spike up as well in both red and green. So this wave really affected red and green quite a bit. And then now let's look here. There's less of an effect in terms of the number of hertz. Like this is over 2 hertz. This is over 2 hertz movement. There's less of an effect in yellow, but there's still a dramatic effect. And then white is just appearing to support us, right? Having this experience. But to me, this is really affecting us as human beings. And it's also addressing our anger, our dense emotions, but also our passion. On my last video, a Schumann energy review, including a review of the full moon energy, I explained in the red why this could either be very dense emotions or it could be passion. And it comes down to, usually it's an unconscious choice of how we use those energies, those co-creative energies with the divine. But when we bring our consciousness and heal our traumas, heal our distortions, and we come into greater alignment, we come back to a relationship with God, with the divine, then we can create from our passion, and we don't have to go into these distortions, because what that does is like a distraction that uses our co-creative energy, and it ties us up from creating in alignment with our highest outcomes, our highest good, like the fun stuff, Yeah. It's just something. And you can see here, the red here, I've been looking at this grouped around right here, these 2 hertz here between 19.9 and 20.3 or 4. And this is where we had the wall last fall. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this fall. So far, the dynamic of that wall being in place has not been recreated. And it's interesting because that dynamic was coming back here, right, with these really tough energies we've had since the full moon. And interestingly, I just read on Telegram that another trucker convoy is starting in, I thought it was Canada. But anyway, I don't know if that's true or not. I gotta, keep an eye out for new news, but I had seen someone post about it, so we'll see if it really happens. But this wall wasn't able to come back, and sure enough, divinity comes in and breaks this line that had been forming. Now, did it go back to it? Yes. So we're going to see what happens with the next wave, which is actually occurring as I speak here. Okay, let's go to Amplitude. The amplitudes was really interesting. There were some really nice peaks across the board in the frequencies, much stronger in the strongest was in the white. But the interesting thing is how tightly grouped the hertz range was for these. So you've got 48, 32 in red, 37 in yellow, which is the normal, number 2 high after white, and 25 in green. So you can see here that the peak in white isn't even more than double the peak in green, and very often it could even be multiples of the peak in green, the difference in the hertz. So this is very tight. This wave is strong across the board, across the range of human experience. That power is distributed pretty evenly, and that's interesting. And we did have some peaks in the qualities, the highest peak being in the green, which kind of resonates with the wave mostly affecting the green based upon the movement and the frequencies, and then appearing to, have a good effect in red and yellow. But the fact is that the rest of these are all grouped around 10 and then 11 for the yellow peaks. So it was by far a much stronger with a 14.5 peak in green. So the quality, the true nature, right, stepping forth. So when this peaks, the resonance is more fully emanating the truth of what it is, right? And so if we were a human being, you'd say, like, for example, if I was resonating at peak quality, then I'd be fully manifesting the energy of my soul within my human form. That's how I see that, okay? That's kind of cool, huh? To be able to do that's a possibility for us. I wanted to just talk about two more things on the chart, and that is, look at this. The technological effect, and I went through explaining this blue line in it. That was so cool in the last video, so take a look at that. That was 12 minutes at the beginning of my last video. It was 51 minutes, but just 12 on the Schumann. And now look at this. The wave comes in and it starts to distort, okay? It starts to fill these frequencies, a technological effect. It looks like it turns off or it is turned off. Either it was turned off by whatever the source of this is, or the wave turned it off, in essence. That's kind of what it seems like here. And now see, look how this happens. Look at this, okay? See how the wave seems to form its energy backwards into the technological effect, and then forwards here. And you see, as the wave goes on, it fills certain frequency ranges. It appears to fill, but now the energy is green, okay? And here the energy is red and yellow. But the initiation is from the wave, the initiation of this. And then look what happens. The chart totally clears. So was it turned off by whatever did that, or was it turned off by the divinity present, the higher energy present? And this is something I talked about on the last video, but when the energy is natural, it trumps whatever that technological effect is, whether that's from human beings, or advanced technology by human beings. That's my only thought of what that could be. But when natural energy presents, then it's no match. That's what it looks like, okay? And you can't defeat God. That's just, did I just say that? Like, the divine prevails in all things. That's just it. When God steps forth, and I'm saying this as a personification, God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, but also just that energy of creation at that level, right? The source of our soul, this expanded, incredibly loving, unconditional loving energy. But when that steps forth, boom, it wins, okay? That's just how it is. All right, now, what I interpreted this image as, finally I got it, okay? Because I was like, why isn't there a big angel with these big wings? Because we have had huge, waves that looked like big angels on the chart, from 0 to 40 hertz practically. And then we got this little guy right there. This little guy initiates this whole wave. How does that even happen? Well, what I finally got in reviewing this energy, finally it came to me, because when I looked at this image here, I kind of isolated the image, and then suddenly I see a halo over his head. And I'm saying his, but the inner child could be male, could be female. Okay, so you can take the language and use it how you wish. But when I saw this inner child, who is, of source. So the inner child is in its wholeness, of male and female together, okay? Because our soul has all of that within, right? Our soul is the totality of what that is, right? For us at the level of divinity. So it has both. It has all opposites within it, right? As one whole, one whole in beautiful perfection, right? I am the Alpha and the Omega, and here's the Omega right there, because Omega is what this looks like the most. Omega with this line here going through it. So then I finally got it. Okay? This is the inner child. And because the inner child within humanity represents the divinity that we are, which is huge, right? I mean, it's hard for the human mind to comprehend, right? If the inner child within us is the divinity that we are, like, in essence, it's a representation of our own soul from within, right? And this is where our divine authority lands, right? This is where it comes from. And this tiny, tiny small child, from the mind of this child incarnating into human form, right? Because that's what created the wave. This wave, it came from the mind of the child. You come from the mind of God, from the mind of the Creator. You're that special. You are that special. You are that special. You are that important. You are that precious. Whew, gosh, it's incredible. It's incredible. See, now I'm going to show you this again, okay? So now you can see, now that we've looked at it, here's the child, okay? And the first, vertically, the first appearance of the wave going from left to right is in the mind of the child, okay? In the body of the child down here. Right there, coming right there, right from the center of its consciousness. Woo! Wow. That's incredible. That is incredible. The wave starts from the mind of the child. You were born from the mind of God, from the mind of the Creator. And you are deserving and worthy accordingly to live your life, to achieve your hopes and dreams, to have a good life, and to share that with your family, your friends, your loved ones. And for us as human beings to have this individually in the families we create, in the communities we create based upon human homes, the collection of human homes that are the communities that we live in. And the love that buoys all of that, that underlies all of that, from which all good things spring, is from the mind of God.